It's always the same.
It seems to be always the same at the moment.
Multiple offers.
The people are gifted and privileged. Now we're going to have to listen to you talk for 10 minutes.
One bedroom, 656 square feet, listed at 718. They just reduced 10,000. Have you seen that for the last 6 to 12 months? I don't think so.
Freedom Convoy 2022, Jay. Thoughts? Moving on to something else. The Joe Rogan controversy. Have you seen any of this?
Are you sitting there or here? What is this?
Also, a sugar for Al. He's watching his waistline.
Welcome to the club.
We're about to record a video and you decide that it's time to have your snack.
Can I have one bite before we do it?
What a waste of a snack as well. Out of everything that's there, you chose the apple fritter.
What would you choose?
Anything but the apple fritter. Even the peasant's berry is better than the apple fritter.
The peasant's berries should be.
What?
Okay. What's up and welcome everybody to the latest Sharp Stories. No baklava today, Jay? No? Huh?
Oh, my baklava? No, I'm never getting it again because you can't be trusted.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Sorry.
You sound like you had something to say. No, carry on. No, don't let me stop you.
I have nothing. Let's go.
Okay, well, welcome back, guys. We are going to do a very brief rundown of the January 2022 market update, followed by some questions which Jay has no idea of, which I'm going to throw his way. And we're going to see and watch him squirm.
I never squirm.
First of all, Jay always squirms. Second of all, let's get to the market update. So it's a lot of the same story as December. Honestly, I'm getting so bored of doing these videos.
It's always the same.
It seems to be always the same at the moment.
Multiple offers.
There's less overall sales in January 22 versus 21, same as what was in December. Part of that is because of the inventory. So to put it in perspective, we are at about half of the amount that's needed for a comfortable market, we'll say.
A what?
Comfortable market.
I thought you said that a little differently. Sorry to interrupt.
Wow. And so that kind of extends what the option is. There's been a lot of talk in the media, as per usual. Of course, the media always gets everything right. It was actually our videographer who brought this up to me today. In the news, there was a story about a home in Surrey that sold for over $1 million over its listing price. Single family, detached,
Doesn't mean anything.
somewhat renovated. Made a news story, it sold for 1.8 because the guy had it listed for $899.
Exactly.
The people, it doesn't surprise the people anymore. They know now.
I hope the people know. We've been trying to spread the message.
The news still thinks it's
News.
yeah.
But yes, that's where we're at. So at the moment, there's still extreme competition on particular amounts of property. I'm still standing by. Condos are such a good bet right now. I feel you're getting so much of a deal, and there is room for growth as well. So if I were looking to buy right now, it would be a condo. Your 2 cents?
I think downtown condos. I agree with you.
Downtown condos. Yeah, and alternatively as well, and I know a lot of people are in the pre-sale market, and I'm working with a couple of clients on the pre-sale side of things for investments.
I'm not.
Okay. Thank you for that clarification.
Just want to be on the table.
I actually feel that there's vastly more opportunity in
Resale?
in the pre-sale side of things out in the likes of, I keep hitting the table, out in the likes of like Burke Mountain, there's a lot going on, Maple Ridge, Pimp Meadows.
Like more pre-sale options?
There's more opportunity for growth and value.
Okay. Yeah.
And the price rises in which we're seeing out there, even over the last year, have been substantial. I mean, we're talking like prices went up 100,000 from when we bought 6 months ago, some places, and they're still selling. Whereas you go downtown and you're still paying that premium for a pre-sale, and you're not getting that growth. Of course, now if you want somewhere new and you want to live in it and you're going to live in there for like 10 years, it's a different story. If you're looking at it from an investment fund side of things, that is where the opportunity is. But the same thing still applies. If you're buying a house detached, it's likely, highly likely, you're going to be involved in multiple offers. You're going to be in it for the long haul, and it's going to be a challenge. And for those entry-level homes as well, probably under that 650, 700 mark. So you need to do your due diligence. The market is still very busy, there's not enough inventory. I think the only thing that's really going to change that, as we've spoken about before, is when we see interest rates rise, but I don't think it's going to amend that balance between supply and demand immediately. That's going to take a good 6 to 12 months to rectify, probably.
You have now definitely spoken enough. You've never talked straight for that long ever for a reason.
The people are gifted and privileged. Now we're going to have to listen to you talk for 10 minutes.
Interest rates, again, I think they're only going to, I'm putting it on the table, they're only going to raise. They will raise in March because all they do is follow the goddamn states, and they will only raise by 0.25 is my call.
Okay.
And I saw something today, this morning, I just got back. I'm slightly tardy to our meeting today. That means
Today,
late.
only today?
Yes, because I was at a showing. Olympic Village, 1 bedroom, 656 square feet, listed at 718. They just reduced 10,000. Have you seen that for the last 6 to 12 months? I don't think so.
The old 10,000.
18 groups through on the weekend, $10,000 reduction. What does that tell you? It's interesting.
They're not going to sell. That 10,000 is not going to make someone think, let's go for it.
It's interesting. Anyway, yeah. Also, I like to do in the monthly updates my Vancouver real estate news segment, as we all know. Okay, you look surprised.
All right.
The only thing in the Vancouver real estate news bulletins on Google today are that Vancouver was beaten for most expensive city in Canada by Toronto.
Okay.
Which is totally relevant. Again, who the hell knows what metrics they're using? They won't tell us. Mm-hmm. And that's it.
That was it?
That's it. Every single goddamn article. There's nothing else to talk about but that.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's a huge letdown.
Okay, so let's talk about some other topics then.
Just remember.
Freedom Convoy 2022, Jay. Thoughts?
It's happening.
What I'm actually interested to know, and I want your opinion on this.
Sure you do.
So Alberta and Saskatchewan are getting rid of the mandates and they've got that phased approach. Do you think when there is a change here, and whether that's from the convoy or from natural circumstances, do you think that will impact the market in any way? Do you think we'll see any change?
No.
So I personally don't think the restrictions are affecting the market at all right now.
No, I agree with that.
So, okay, we're both in agreement on one.
To the point, I do find it interesting that they're, I'm not going to say that the Prime Minister has started to try and dictate the convoy to end in Ottawa. Mm-hmm. And I just find it interesting that we'll call it freedom of speech is accepted when it's quiet, confined, and approved of by...
No, it's when it's... Freedom of speech is accepted when it's government approved.
Basically what I'm saying.
So, for example, like the Black Lives Matter protest.
Of course.
Cost over $1 billion in damages.
But
I think that was just in America or North America alone. That was okay for Trudeau to be there. And the problem is, it's hypocritical on both sides, right? It's not like, oh, the right is, they've got it right and they're absolutely right about the convoy. Like, they were complaining about the whole Black Lives Matter things, and now it's the other way around, and it's the left and the right. It's just hypocritical on both ends.
I just think it's interesting. I think it's just becoming more and more clear that, again, and not to mention the current government's stance on online speech and what's allowed to be said, that's a whole other story. But I just find it very interesting that, yeah, it's showing that there are very strict and thick walls around the points of view on when freedom of speech can take place.
What I would have loved to have seen happen, and I think this was a wasted opportunity, dare I say it, but should we ever not provide the best level of service? We go above and beyond. Yeah, I know, this is a completely hypothetical situation. But we always do anyway, but we would be exceptionally keen on going above and beyond to resonate with that client. And I would have liked to have seen the government react in that way by even seeing Trudeau maybe step up and just have a conversation and say, okay, look,
No.
I'm for a different route, you're not. Let's hold this conversation, let's hold this discussion, not call them fringe minority and this and that, but like actually step up and say, look, I'm supposed to be leading this country. Let's have some open dialogue about this. Tell me why you're upset, what it's affecting you, personal life, communicate, and then obviously go from there. I think unfortunately the kind of run away and hide method it just angered more and it made it a lot worse than what it was, and it was an opportunity for him to come out and connect with people and for people, to be honest, to feel like they've been heard. So I think that was a wasted opportunity there, and I would not know why his advisors, I assume he has advisors. Obviously, if not, they should be fired and hire us.
He's shown many times that he's not willing to. If you go out and you go on a campaign trail for election or re-election, you go out and say your things, and you wait for the polls to come in, and then you say rah rah rah, I won, for example. This is what I think. He's never been one to be strong at direct. Why don't we say arguments, confrontation, negotiation, nothing like that.
And as a Canadian, he's got away with it because Canadians are predominantly peaceful.
Well,
they're not very outspoken in the same way that the US or even the Brits are.
for sure. So it's not surprising at all that he hid. And again, I mean, you see everything, but he's, whatever he is, double vaccinated and boosted,
Triple vaccinated.
and then gets COVID. And this whole thing is about locking down not to get COVID and the mandates to get this. It's just, the whole thing is, I think, falling apart, the narrative that's being put out there.
Well, and now his own caucus is, like, they've come out and then they've had people in their own Liberal Party come out and say, like, change your policies, you're dividing people right now. So
Yeah,
it's kind
so
of all
he's-
imploding from the inside here.
But he has not taken steps not to divide at all. He has taken
But that's
very
what his
firm
party
steps.
has said.
I know his party has, but he has not acted in any way that has not done anything other than draw that line in the sand.
But whether people like to believe it or not, I mean, the convoy's working. Saskatchewan pretty much got rid of their restrictions. Alberta did. Quebec are doing so in the next few weeks. We'll remain to see what happens in BC. Moving on to something else, the Joe Rogan controversy. Have you seen any of this?
Of course.
You have seen it? So I heard something interesting yesterday. Of course it was, so everyone always talks about like the whole cancel culture and they are too soft and they are snowflakes and they bring this up and they said that this was racist, but who actually is they? And so apparently the whole issue with Joe Rogan came out 2 days before Spotify had to, am I boring you?
No.
Am I boring you?
I'm going along with what you're saying. I'm trying to find something that I read about this the other day. Please continue.
Okay. Yeah, 1000%.
Cancel culture is the most extreme form of online bullying. I found that interesting.
There's that comment of like, everyone's entitled to their own opinion as long as you agree with my opinion.
Of course.
And it's, the interesting thing that I heard as well was it's like, we're just getting down to ridiculous levels of trust in society, i.e. people don't trust the US dollar, so they hedge their bets on crypto. We'll speak about that another time.
Common sense, yeah.
Good conversation, fun conversation, but also another form of trust where that has to be cancelled and can't be online because I don't trust somebody to read a post or listen to a podcast and not turn into a far alt-right person.
I think the biggest thing that we lean away from is that for some reason people are okay to do is get away from individual decision making and just pass the buck to, in this case, the bigger corporation.
Yeah,
I
big
may
tech and stuff.
listen to Joe Rogan and I may take him as fact and gospel because that's what I come up with what I see. But I don't want to make that, I don't like that, so I don't like what they said. Spotify, you now have a problem. Mm-hmm. So it's...
And that's and in fairness, he's so big, so apparently 11 million viewers a day, 11 million viewers per one of his podcasts. Apparently that's the equivalent to a Taylor Swift album per podcast, which is huge when you put it in perspective. So now he kind of came up kind of on his own because he was with the whole YouTube thing, and then he obviously got the deal and went to Spotify. And so I think this is really the first time that they can hold somebody accountable. But interestingly, when that whole thing came out, and it didn't really go anywhere with the doctors he had on, and now the whole racist thing has come out in that video and whatnot. Apparently it got released 2 days before Spotify had to report their earnings. And obviously the stock took a bit of a dive after that. And then when you have a look at all of the competitors of who Spotify are, they're like Amazon for podcast and music listening and whatnot. And then you have a look at how deeper and deeper this goes. There's a lot of investors, hedge funds, venture capitalist firms, like billions of dollars riding on essentially Joe Rogan failing. And so there's a bit of talk that it's corporate espionage in a sense. Corporate espionage is probably not the right word, but interestingly enough, the Washington Post had an article in it which said how to cancel Spotify and keep all of your music. Who owns the Washington Post? Bezos. All these things are interlinked, so I thought that was really interesting of how that happened and how that came around and who they possibly could be.
I just don't know why people are so not willing to just make their own decisions and be happy with it. I think it's come down to because everyone just headline reads now. So like, I don't actually want to go in and dive in and get an actual opinion, so I want a headline read and then have a half opinion, but I don't like that, so you guys gotta take them down. It's just stupid.
It's funny because all of these so-called activists now who are claiming this and misinformation things, like back in the 60s, etc., when it was all against the man, they were the people who were trying to give more power to the people. And now it's those same types that are essentially trying to give more power to big government, big tech, big pharma, and it's completely like 180'd. Interesting where the world is going to.
It's sad.
It is sad.
But it is what it is. Change. It'll change.
Yeah, it always
Pierre. We got Pierre.
Pierre's going up. That should be interesting.
I don't know if you were on that thing this morning. I listened to an O'Leary thing this morning, just while we're on these topics. He was saying that he will not run again. He's currently suing the country.
O'Leary?
Yeah. Because
didn't his wife, like a couple of years ago or last year, kill someone in a boat and they're getting sued or something?
Yeah, I think that's done. He probably just paid for that.
No, apparently it was a multi-billionaire who they hit, so it wasn't like a payoff job.
Oh, I have no idea.
Sad, but I don't know.
I heard about that and then it disappeared, so I assume someone got paid and it left the news or whatever. But if you run for parliament and you lose, he was on Kitco actually, not a surprise, and you lose, you have 3 years to pay back donors to your party.
Wow. In
Canada, and if you don't, they can put you in jail.
Oh, wow.
So he's apparently suing the country. It's next. They've been doing it for years, and it's next in Supreme Court of Canada to get that removed. So if I may be getting this not exactly right, that was fundamentally what it was, but the details, again, the latest interview of him on Kitco has this. He's fighting to get that removed. So then, obviously, if you lose, people donate. There's a risk involved in donating, of course, if they lose. But once that gets removed, apparently every time it's been challenged in court, it has lost. So now they're trying to get it removed. Once that's removed, he claims he will then again try and run for prime minister under the Conservative flag.
So he's basically saying, when I know I don't have to pay you back,
I'm in.
I'll run for you.
Yes.
Okay, interesting. I think that pretty much sums it up. Short on real estate today. It's the same message. We've been saying it for months and months and months on end. So it's interesting to talk about something else.
And you had to bring politics into it again.
It's, if anything, it's more so your reaction and your hate. Because what people don't realize is off camera, you probably asked me multiple times, can you not bring this up? Can you not bring this conversation up? And so just the appeal of doing, you're like putting a red button that says do not touch in front of me, and I'm going to smash that button all day long.
As you people know, this is filmed consistently in one take with no prep. And for doing so, I got screwed over with that attitude. So maybe we need to start editing these, okay? Maybe we need to start editing these. Maybe we need to start getting our money out of Al, okay?
I think.
And when I say we, I mean maybe I need to start getting my money out of
I think we
Al.
need to give the people what they want, which is originality.
That they get.
Okay, we'll see you next week, guys. Thanks for joining again.